Hello and welcome to this pre-recorded Q&A with director Minna Dufton of Big vs Small. Thank you so much, Minna, for joining us today and for allowing us to screen your incredible film as part of a preview screening for our Surf Cinema summer camp. It's a pleasure to have screened your film and an even more of a pleasure to get to meet you and talk more about your film.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us. I'm really thrilled that we get to have this very special preview screening at Exeter Phoenix, and it's all thanks to you, Claire.
Yeah, so we program all sorts of films and documentaries, and surf cinema is something that we've developed a lot over the kind of last decade or so. And your film is so refreshing as a female programmer, not only because it champions a female surfer and puts her right at the front of this story, but it's also made by a female filmmaker, and it feels like it's been a long time coming, as unfortunately there aren't that many films coming out made by female directors in this category, although there are more on the way, which is good to see. So could we start at the beginning and maybe talk about your motivation behind making this film and how you came to learn about Joanna and what she's up to?
Yeah, we can start from the beginning. Well, my background is in TV and documentaries and journalism, and I've always been a very curious person. And how I got to this story, it's a really interesting story. It actually started from an article on the BBC website. This journalist called Joanna who's UK based, she wrote a feature about women in the US surfing the Mavericks, so the big waves there. This was like back in 2017. I'd never heard of big wave surfing then. This was the first I ever came across the topic, and I was instantly drawn in because I'm an ocean lover. Water is my element, and when I saw that it was about women, I thought, whoa, what's this? And I think it's really interesting to see what us girls can get up to. And so I read the article, watched all the videos, and then I was hooked into watching big wave surfing on YouTube.
Okay.
I got completely hooked. And so I went through the keyhole and started going towards the topic. You know it when your thoughts are going in a certain direction, and I began to play with the idea of making a film about a surfer, and I wanted to find a woman who surfs big waves, and I went to Portugal to kind of do a little background research. We're back in March 2018 when I traveled to Sintra in Portugal to go and learn how to surf, and the place where I was staying was a surf and yoga retreat, and the owners happened to be connected to the big wave surfing community. So while I was there for a week, I asked a lot of questions. They gave me books to read. They taught me how to surf, and so I got a real good dip in the world of surfing. It was amazing. And during that week, I actually met João de Macedo, who back then was the 6th best surfer in the world. He came to have a chat with me, and I told him that I was really interested in psychological side of big wave surfing. Psychology has always been a big motivator in my films and in my work, and I think the human mind is a really interesting place. So João opened that world up to me and actually told me that the best way to learn how to cope with that wipeout situation when you're surfing big waves would be to go and dive under the ice. So I had a light bulb moment during that conversation, coming from Finland with 180,000 lakes, which most of them freeze in the winter. I thought, well, this is interesting. And so after that chat, I got given Joanna's contact details. My hosts knew her and told me that she would be someone that I should definitely talk to as well. And when I heard that she was only 2 centimeters shorter than I am, she's 156 and I'm 158, I thought, oh well, we're gonna have to meet up. And I heard that she was back then the only Portuguese woman surfing Nazare. So yeah, that was it. When I traveled back home to Finland, I emailed Joanna and explained to her that I'd been on this trip and heard about her and would she be happy to talk to me. And so we arranged a Skype. This was maybe like April 2018. We had a Skype and I told Joanna who I was, and at first I know she was a bit surprised that someone from Finland would like to potentially make a film about her and is interested to hear her story, and so that's how we began. And after that chat we kept in touch and we agreed to meet in Portugal later that year, and I then traveled to meet Joanna in June 2018 and spent a couple of days with her. She showed me around her lovely hometown of Exeter and took me to all the important places except for Nazare. We didn't go there that time, but she showed me her surf spots and her school and her friends also I got to meet, and it was amazing. I didn't expect it to kind of like grow so big so quickly, but as soon as we connected and I think Joanna felt safe with me from the very beginning. It just began to open up from there. And then before I left home, I took my camera out and I said to Joanna that, look, let's just film a little bit and a bit of a demo, to see how you feel. And because I explained to her that if I'm going to come and make a film about you, there'll be a few people coming with me that it'll be a big change. So we filmed a little bit in her surf school, and actually that footage is now in the film. There's a scene where she explains how the life vests work.
Yeah.
That was filmed that day. Okay. It was quite spontaneous and it was relaxed. It was just me and her, and yeah, after that we talked about why she really surfs the big waves, and that's when she told me what she'd been through, and that's when I knew that there was a bigger story behind her. And because I think there's always a reason why someone does something extraordinary, surfs big waves or climbs big mountains or whatever. There's always a reason. And we sort of got to that on that visit, and then I decided that I had to come back and bring my crew and somehow make this happen. And so we started from there. Yeah,
I think that's the true kind of evolution of documentary filmmaking at play there, where you have an idea in your head and the outcome just takes you on a completely different journey. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges of being a documentary filmmaker, right, versus a more kind of fictional based storytelling where you just don't know where the story is going to take you. Yeah. And at what point did you introduce Joanna to Joanna? At what point, and how did that relationship land? Because the relationship is so beautiful on screen. So
yes.
I'm curious to know.
Yes, it's an interesting story. Well, from my chat with Joanna, the Macedo that I just told you, I got this thought that, perhaps I could somehow connect the under the ice diving and the big wave surfing, because as a filmmaker, I want to do more than just make a film. I want to make impact. And here I saw that there was an opportunity to help Joanna, because she told me that her biggest fear was drowning. And just the thought of her going to Nazareth frightened me so much. I thought, if there's anything that I can do to make it a little bit easier for her, not that she asked for it, but I just sort of saw that there was something we could do. And I'd read and seen on social media that big wave surfers were really into the cold and also obviously into breath holding. And because I knew Johanna, I couldn't help but connect the dots. So after I got back from Portugal, I asked Johanna for coffee. We knew each other already. So, she came and I told her about Joanna. I told her her story and that, that I'd like her to be part of this story. And she said yes. And from that moment, I just knew we were onto something really special, because I think without them ever meeting, obviously previously, they connected already in my mind, and because I obviously told them both about each other, and they knew, they were going to meet, and then we set a date in Finland in December 2018. It was just a chance that the two very busy women were free on the same weekend, and we flew Joanna to Finland. And actually the first time they met in real life was captured in the film. That moment was really the first moment they got to meet, and I kept them apart until then, because I wanted to make sure that it was genuine and like that they were dying to meet each other. And from that moment, it all just went with the flow, as you say. They hit it off like sisters. It was almost like, I don't know, two little girls meeting and having a play date. So they went off to the pool. Johanna started training Joanna, and we had a job keeping up with them because they got on so well. And so we followed what happened in the pool, and then the next day we went to the cottage where Johanna trains for her free diving events, and yeah, so that you can see in the film. Everything you see is how it went. It was all very authentic, very genuine, and that I'm really proud of, because I think, have managed to capture something really special there. And that connection is something that I'll always hold really close to my heart, because I managed to get these two women together, and what came is just incredible.
Yeah, and I think in the film, the two Joannas, they complement and contrast each other so beautifully. And in the film, you show that you move from these quite monstrous waves of Portugal to the peaceful, calm landscape of Finland in the film, and there is a different atmosphere in those moments during your documentary. And it'd be good to know a little bit about the kind of techniques you employed to capture those really intimate moments, because they're so beautiful when they're preparing to do that nighttime, swim, and the moments when they're coming out of the sauna. What did you do anything differently to capture those moments?
We took time. I think that's maybe something that, because this was an independent production and I could do things how I wanted. I wanted to create a really safe place for everything to happen, especially with Joanna coming from the background of trauma. I've worked with, with trauma before in my career, and I'm someone who really likes to work on sensitive topics, and to make those sort of shoots work, you just really need to take time with people and not rush, and create a feeling of everyone being one big family, which we managed to do. My team were just brilliant, and they were selected because of that, and I knew that we were going to be able to do anything together. And in Heinola, where we filmed the cold water training and the ice diving, obviously Johanna was in charge of all the actual, technical diving related things. We went with what she said, and there was a lot of safety issues to consider. So not the most relaxing of shoots for us. It was a really demanding job. But because we managed to create such a wonderful little bubble that we were in, even with little setbacks like the ice not being quite thick enough, and the underwater crew calling in sick the day that we were going to film underwater.
Okay.
Little things like that didn't really matter. We made everything work, and yeah, I'm really happy that I got to make this independently, because I believe that to really get people to feel comfortable and safe, you just need to be really calm and take time and let things happen, rather than force things to happen because you have a obviously we had a production schedule to keep up. We didn't have lots of time, but taking it easy, it all worked out really well.
Yeah, it definitely shows that atmosphere, through the atmosphere that you've created. But I'm also curious to know, at any point, like, where does your responsibility begin and end as a director and a filmmaker? You're asking your subjects, or encouraging your subjects, to maybe take part in things which you say are very dangerous, and at times you're kind of exposing both physical and even mental vulnerabilities with your subjects. So I'm curious to know, were there any points where you felt maybe you were asking too much, or did you always feel you were comfortable with getting Joanna to do what she wanted to do?
I felt comfortable because we had such a good connection, and we talked a lot with Joanna, because obviously we worked together for quite a while on this. We had time to discuss things, and she's someone, when she decides to do something, she'll do it. And I trusted Joanna and Johanna to do what they do best, and I kind of just, at that point when they started working together, we took the step back to observe. And obviously, as a director, I was in charge of the filming, but they were in charge of what they were doing. And I think that's the most important thing, that they did what they felt comfortable doing. And we followed that. That's how it went. And that's why it worked so well. It was girl power.
I love that.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, yes, there were moments when I admit, I don't think I've ever been as scared as a filmmaker as I've been making this film, for many reasons. And yeah, the under ice diving was one. I still can't watch without like holding my breath, and I've seen it quite a few times. That part is still beyond me. I could not do that myself. Like, it was just so, I know, Johanna, if you ask her, it's just perfectly normal, but but for the rest of us, it's just beyond. That was something. And then the other thing was when I got to see Joanna surf the big waves in Nazareth. That was a scary day for me, because I was directing from land, radio phone connection to the safety crew that we had in the ocean, and obviously it was a really difficult situation for me, because as a director, you want to be in charge. You ideally want to be at arm's length of people, and to pull them out, or do whatever if anything went wrong. But what I did was I booked extra safety crews to make sure that if Joanna fell, there was like more than more than usual number of jet skis to pick her up, and that she felt safe. Because that day we caught that really big wave was actually her comeback after a foot injury. So she hadn't surfed for a long time before that date. So there were so many things that kind of like wrapped up in one that day. I can still feel my stomach go all funny when I think about it. So yeah, I have been scared, but I knew everybody was doing what they knew best. And big wave surfing, as I now know, is not something that surfers take lightly. It's a very well planned operation. You don't just go there. We planned everything many times, and in the end it's just beautiful teamwork, and everything and everyone worked fine. But I guess the scariest thing for me with this project really has been the financial side, because we weren't lucky enough to get the Finnish film industry behind us on this project, because when I was pitching it at the early stage, no one quite got the idea. They didn't really get what I was doing, and like, why would you do, what's this story? They just didn't get it. And even now, we're almost like 2 years since we released. I do get the people that I pitched to come up to me and say that, well, we never would have believed that it would come out like this, and like we really didn't realize it was going to be as good as this. And so I don't know what to think to that, really. It's like, well, what did you think, that I wasn't going to be able to do this? Or like, what did you think? But I think it was, a lot of the reasons maybe are down to surfing not being so big here in Finland, and certainly not big wave surfing. They're just, not topics that you hear here that much. Although there is surfing in Finland, there are a couple of really good surfing spots here, and there is a big surfing community here. But still, it's not maybe what you'd expect a Finnish filmmaker to make. And I know I'm the first Finnish female director who's made a big wave surfing film. So yeah, I am a pioneer. But yeah,
absolutely.
The first one always has the hardest road to take, and mine has been a really hard one.
I think, and it's only been the last few years that big wave surfing has, taken off in terms of like cinematic exploration and things, and there's many more things coming that are about big wave surfing. And I think I think you're right, you're definitely a pioneer in that front. So I think you're setting the tone quite high for that. You kind of mentioned your team as well. You talked about your team a little bit. Can you talk about your team in terms of, did you have to adapt to capture those big waves? Because that's really specialist stuff, and that looks so good on screen. Did you have to employ new people or techniques?
Yes, I did. I did like a recce trip to Nazaré in January 2019, after we'd done the under ice diving filming in Finland. And I was lucky that we bumped into Tim Nathan, our surf cinematographer, on a really windy day in Nazaré, when our cameras almost like flew off the cliffs, and we managed to hook up with Tim, and he gave me his card and said, look, if you're planning on coming here, give me a call. And so I did. When I got back to Finland, I had a Skype with Tim and explained to him what I was going to be doing, and that we'd be filming Joanna, and what we were planning on, when we were planning on doing it, and everything. And yeah, I'm really grateful that Tim chose to come on board this project, because I know he has a lot of projects of his own, and other projects he does. He's very much the man who knows how it's done in the ocean. There are not that many cinematographers who will go and do this, the ocean side. So So yeah, basically Tim did all the surf filming, and Sake Kantosalo, who was my DOP, did the land angle. So that's how we filmed the surfing action. Obviously, because the surfing action can be so short in seconds, we had to maximize those moments. So we did obviously use drones, and I fixed GoPros everywhere I could, and so that we, if the worst came to the worst, we would have, if one camera fell, we'd have something to kind of back it up with. But not the easiest operation, and obviously expensive because of the nature of it, and also very demanding because of the weather aspect of it. It really isn't that simple to go and film big wave surfing in Nazaré. There are so many things to consider, which I now know. And but yeah, I think now looking back, it was quite a brave thing to do, to make my first surf film in Nazaré. But the right people, we did it, and I had a fantastic crew, and everyone who was on board, the safety team, we all did it together, and it's always teamwork. But yeah, the surfing images are really Tim's field, and they are beautiful.
Really,
it was amazing to see how he did it, and I'm sure everyone will want to know how he does it, and that's another story. When Tim first told me how it's done, how those oceanside images of big wave surfing in Nazaré are done, I felt really bad. I thought, oh my God, who am I to ask him to do this? Like, he has family and everything, and like, what if something happened? He told me in our first call that the night before a shoot, he never sleeps because he's that scared. He's fallen off the back of a jet ski a couple of times, and you can just imagine it. Those waves, they can be taller than blocks of houses. Incredible situation to be in if you lose your place on the back of a ski. How Tim does it? He basically goes to the waves on a certain type of a jet ski, really a powerful one that can get out of the way of the waves quickly, and he gets his feet strapped to the ski, so that then when he's holding this red camera and housing, he's that all weighs about 12 kilos, so that he's not like flipped backwards and off the ski every time the ski moves. He has to be strapped in. That's how it's done. But as he told me, it doesn't always work, and he's fallen off. So it was a really scary thing to do. But I've learned, during my career, to trust the people that do something, specific. If you are a surf cinematographer, you are a surf cinematographer. You know what you're doing in there, and yeah, I didn't have any doubts that that it wouldn't all go well in the end, but still I did have butterflies, and yeah.
And being responsible for such an expensive piece of kit, they don't come cheaply. Cameras, do they?
Yeah, that's it. And all skis, to hire those extra skis to protect everybody, that was also something that so this ended up being a really expensive shoot, obviously, because of all that, and because of the safety, and my company insurance people, when I told them what I was about to go and do, that was an interesting conversation.
Yes, that was a tough day.
But yeah, we had insurance, where we could. One interesting thing about surfing is that obviously the surfers, often they're not insured because they can't get insurance. It's not something that you can insure anyone for.
No.
So I don't know if that's changed now, but certainly then it was risky. But filmmaking is risky, so you kind of get used to living with risk doing this. And as an independent filmmaker, it's a really risky business. So but with this film, I really maximized on all the risks.
That's what makes it exciting, and I think that's what makes it land so well with the surf community. Have you found that the audiences have taken this film well, and have they found the authenticity in it?
Well, they have, and I have to say I'm so grateful to each and everyone who's reached out to me and to us, to Joanna, to Johanna, to my crew, and all the awards we've won at festivals. We've won something like 9 awards by now, and the feedback has been like beyond amazing. I could never have imagined to get this much feedback. And this is a really interesting thing because way back in my career, when I was still working for like public broadcasters, I always sort of felt that I wasn't getting that much feedback for what I did, because feedback is something that you really need in order to develop. You need the criticism, you need the good feedback, the encouragement to be able to take your craft that step further. And without that, you just don't know if you're doing anything right or where you're going wrong. So with this, I don't think I've ever had so much feedback in my life. So and the same to the whole team, they all got so much feedback that my heart and my cup is very full.
Well deserved, I think. And it is again such a pleasure to be able to bring this to an audience in Exeter who I know will adore this film. We've shown films with Johanna before, her short film. We've shown that, and a film called Fin Surf we showed years ago, which is about cold water surfing and bonkers people that live in vans in Finland to surf the waves in winter in the dark. So this will go down beautifully with our audience, and it's been absolutely magic to be able to talk to you and extend that experience. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And I'm so thrilled that we are having this special preview screening with you, because UK is a very important place in my heart, because I lived there for 13 years and I started my career in the UK. I made my first ever documentary film in college on East Coast Media, where I studied. And so this is such a big deal for me that we are, having this cinema release. And I really hope that everyone will come and watch and share the news that we are coming to the UK.
Tell your friends.
And I hope that I can come back to the UK with the film this summer, late summer, and perhaps to Exeter at some point.
You're always welcome. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll take you down to the beach. We're not far away.
So just what I'd love to do right now.
It's very hot here today when we're recording this. So that's my plan later on this afternoon, I think, is to go.
Oh, I do miss England. So I just want to extend my warmest thanks to you and your team, Claire, and thanks for this chat. And thanks to everyone who comes to watch, and do shout out about us and share your thoughts afterwards and reach out. We have we're very active on social media, Instagram, it's a Facebook page, and the website bigbsmalldocumentary.com, where you can also find out a little bit more about the team and reviews and everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.